We look we look young. So we look.
I'm not a senior.
I'm gonna. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure if there was a delay there, but anyway,
I think there was.
Yeah. This is Jan and Jeff number 13. We've done 13 of these, and we're doing this on May 8th, which is, and this year is the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II.
Absolutely, and it's a big thing here.
It's a very big thing in France. I went to, I try to do every year. Went to the my town's ceremony.
Okay, the commemoration ceremony.
Commemoration, yeah, it was commemoration, and I'll put photos on this page that and a link in the description on YouTube. And it was interesting because every year they have the flags. They have the French flag, they have the American flag, the British flag, and I think they have the Savoyard flag. I think.
Oh, right, because you're up in the Savoy.
I'm in Savoy, yeah, or Savoy,
right.
and they have that, and then they have the veterans. They always have the veterans, and then they have the police, and there's also the fire department and the Red Cross.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and I think in every little town in France today has a commemoration.
Yeah, I think pretty much everywhere. Yeah, even small ones. One time we were in the Jura Mountains one time. It was very interesting. And I think we just happened to be there, and we went to this little town, little village. I think it's more of a village. I remember that. The village, we went there, and we just happened to be there. So we stopped and we waited, and they read the name of the dead, who had died in the wars.
Yeah.
And it was a long list.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, from here in Montélimar, I'm only, maybe a 2.5, I would say, no, probably a 2-hour drive from Vassieuse and Chapelle-en-Vercors, which is the beginning of the Alps, which is where you had the main resistance.
Right, you had a lot of resistance.
There's so many caves up in there, and they were the last ones in France to really be liberated. But and you've got in all the little towns and villages, you've got some kind of landmark or statue or something with all the names of the people that were killed. Yeah.
They all have a monument aux morts, so a monument to the war.
Every town, every village. But it was, the war happened here on their ground, whereas in the States.
Yeah, much different than in America.
Well, I don't think anybody in the States really knows what today is or is really celebrating it in the States.
Other than the president and the.
Right, maybe. But here it's a national holiday. But what I'm a little confused about is because it's May 8th and it's the Liberation Day of World War II. But then there are so many dates in June that were, liberated this, liberated that. You're going to the Brothers in Arms concert in where the debarkment was.
Right,
Right. So, this is just the beginning of celebrated commemoratives for the war in between May, and there's so many in June also. In fact, my father-in-law was here for lunch, and he was telling us about how the 8th of May, that first year when the war ended, they didn't celebrate it down here because they were still under the occupation. They had to wait until the following year before they even celebrated May 8th because not everything had been liberated.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was the end of the war, but there were still Germans here, and they were still trying to get them out. And they didn't have internet. They couldn't just send an SMS or an email, so everybody knew instantly, what was going on. I think that there was such a difference in the communication systems that. Not everybody was free to celebrate this, on this day. And he was telling me about how there was no gasoline for the cars or the trucks, and it was his job. He was 16. he got up at 6 every morning in this little village out here in the Rhone Valley, and they had 2 tanks. I'd never even heard this before, and I'll try and explain it briefly. But they had the base of the truck, and on each side they had fixed some kind of like container, and in one of them they would put little chunks of wood that they would burn. And it was his thing, and he had to keep turning it to get the wood burning, and it generated gas, which would then go up through a tube and into the other big canister on the other side of the truck. And he would take these little pieces of wood that were kind of burning and go and light it near the canister to see if the gas would light. And they actually had a horse come every morning and pull the truck to get it started with a gas system, but gas like you've got in your kitchen, because there was no fuel.
Wow.
I had never even heard that, and I've been here, a long time. And I've never heard that story that's, they didn't have any fuel for transportation. I mean, the Germans had, sequestered all of that stuff, so they'd have enough gas for their.
They didn't have, yeah, my,
And then I do have to laugh at the faux pas, because my husband, then we were talking about the war, and Stefan just said to me, he said, we were talking about General Leclerc, and then he said, well, and then there was Eclair. And I said, Eclair? I've never heard of Eclair. And then I kept saying Leclerc, and he kept saying, no, Eclair. And I kept saying, why, no, I've never heard of Eclair. There's only Leclerc. And then finally I got it was Hitler, but it was the way he was saying it. So, I mean, after 30 years, I'm saying I'd never heard of Hitler just because of the way he was pronouncing it. Oh, God. And so this is encouragement to all the other Americans. It doesn't necessarily get better after a long time.
Yeah, right. It's people that, right, exactly. We can do more focus. What was interesting, I talking to my mother-in-law and my father-in-law.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law told me, or somebody else, I can't remember, it's not my mother-in-law, somebody told me that they're in Burgundy. So you're in the Drôme Provincial. You're kind of in south of Lyon, but north of Provence, or anyway. I'm in Burgundy, southern Burgundy.
Right.
I'm in north of Lyon. You're south of Lyon. I'm
right.
Right. And they used to do a lot of drops. They would do a lot of they would use drops for the French resistance. I've seen them do container drops, so there'd be weapons and stuff. And the parachutes were used for wedding dresses.
I did see that. Yeah, and you know where I saw it? Was actually a museum at John Wayne Airport in Orange County, California.
Really?
Yeah, somebody opened a World War II museum, and you can go and visit. They have B-52s, they have the B-25s, they have all those planes, and they actually take them out now and then. But there was a whole section on how the women would take the parachutes and make wedding dresses, because there was so many people kind of just getting married, falling in love and getting married, and material was hard to come by. So it's that, like the gas thing, it shows so much resilience and
necessity is the mother of
resourcefulness and resilience against not having comfortable things, but making it comfortable with what you've got.
Right. What I said is, you have the necessity is the mother of invention. So
absolutely. And wouldn't that, they actually had one exposed at this museum in California. They had a lot of pictures of different women that made wedding dresses out of them, and they actually had one there. And I'd never heard that before either until last year.
That would be something. That would be really, really, really something. No, it's anyway. Yeah. It's true though. You have that, and I'm like you were saying. I'm going to the D-Day beaches next month, June 5th, 6th, and 7th actually. For the Band of Brothers, which was on HBO. It's going to be, there's a reunion of the actors reunion, and they're also should have veterans there too.
I think there always is.
There always is, yeah, there always is. So that ought to be interesting. You get the stories too. And when I first came to France, that's where I was at. I was in Normandy, Brittany, and all those towns were liberated in June and August of 1940.
Right.
Very interesting.
Right, right. I've been there. I actually took my father for his 80th birthday up there because he'd always wanted to go. He was in the South Pacific, but he was a tail gunner. But he, you know, he had a lot of friends that he lost over here. So I took him to Normandy. And I think the first village to be liberated, I actually had dinner at some people's house through my ex-husband, who live in the village. It's Rancon or Rand. Anyway, there's so many little villages there. I don't remember the name of it, but there was that first little village that was liberated, and then it just kind of spread out through Normandy.
Yeah.
And it's true. I think it was the debarkment, or how do we even say it?
The D-Day,
right, the landing. Yeah, was the 6th, 7th, and or the 5th, 6th, and 7th of June. And we should be. I think we'll be doing a chat then, a hangout with you.
We'll do a hangout. We'll try to do a hangout. See if I can get
right. We've talked about it. We'll see if we can make that happen.
We'll see if it works. Okay, I think it's good. And so today is a holiday, and next week is another holiday. So we have to talk about holidays in France.
Yeah, yeah. And we haven't talked, right. Well, there's so many in May. There's actually a lot in June, but they're not national holidays. And we were going to talk about some of the young people leaving, and they don't know about the war. We'll have to do that next week. And then the longest road, France, is Route 66.
Exactly, Route 66.
We've got some fun. Yeah, we've got some fun things to talk about with that one.
Okay, well, we'll talk with you next week.
Okay, take care. Have a great May 8th, the holiday here. It's an extra long weekend, and so enjoy yourself.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
We'll talk next week. Ciao. Bye.
Ciao.